guys, it's Melanie and I finally have eyebrows. Look. So I got microblading done. Let's talk about that. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Dollar Tree DIY. Storage solutions for small houses. Like makeover. Let me show you what I got. I washed all of my clothes together. Let's go make something. Alright guys, I finally have eyebrows. I finally did it. I decided to do microblading, and this whole video is my experience, the healing process, what it was like, what it felt like, all that stuff. And at the end, the artist that did my microblading is actually going to do a Q&A. She answers some questions from Instagram. I'm super thankful. That might be a little bit more information for you, of course, because she's a professional. So hopefully you might get some answers out of this video. At the end of the day, it's so totally worth it because I have eyebrows. Alright, so the process. First thing I needed to do was find someone that I trusted to do my eyebrows. There are different ways you can get your eyebrows microbladed. It's semi-permanent, but you can also do like the tattooing, which is permanent, which is like a powder brow, and Sierra explains that really well at the end of the video. And I kind of wanted a cross between both. I wanted filled in tails and microbladed here. So this is a tattoo, whoop, and this is microblading. And so I needed someone that I trusted to permanently tattoo my face. I got a face tattoo, y'all. And Sierra is someone that I grew up with, and she had a great portfolio. This is Sierra. I grew up with Sierra. Hi. Her portfolio is amazing. I'm gonna insert like a picture of it here, but I'll just put her link below so you can see it. All right, so about a week before my appointment, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I was doing my eyebrows in the car, and it was a big deal because I was like, I'm never gonna have to do this again. I am in the car. We're at the drive-thru waiting, and I am filling in my eyebrows, and I am so excited because I'm not like trying to fill them in like to look like perfect, just a little bit so I'm confident enough to like, you know, go out and about, and I won't have to do this by next week. Yeah, it's really exciting. So anyway, let me show you guys the before, because my eyebrows were really thin. I forgot to do that. Let's show you the before. All right guys, this is a before. Usually I have makeup, so you don't get to see like the glory of what my eyebrows look like. This is how I plucked them in like high school because I'm in my 30s. This is the before. So anyway, the day of the appointment, I got there and we set everything up. Well, she had everything set up. I set up my equipment to film because I was lucky enough that she let me film. And I filled out paperwork, which is basically like, you know, no, I'm not pregnant. No, I'm not, you know, allergic to XYZ, that kind of stuff. And then she started mapping. So mapping is when they take this, it looks like the Scarlet Witch. I don't know if you guys know who that is. That's a character from Avengers. Anyway, and she like puts it on my face and she starts showing all these lines and all this cool stuff. And it basically, it measures your face to know where your arch needs to be, where your tails need to end, how close this needs to come up, and it makes them look the most identical as possible. This is the most identical my eyebrows have been probably since birth, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I had lines all over my face, so that way she knew where to fill it in. Next, she laid me down to start the process. Usually people will use a numbing cream, so when people ask me if it was painful, I don't think it's very accurate for me to answer that question because I'm allergic to the numbing cream. I also cannot have Orajel, which really super sucks. But anyway, usually you can use the numbing cream. I had none, and to be honest, it does hurt. It feels like a tattoo, and tattoos hurt. It's not like the end of the world, but it hurts like a tattoo. But again, I didn't have the numbing cream. So if you can have numbing cream, it probably is not gonna hurt, not even a fraction of what I did, and I went through it perfectly fine, and it was totally worth it. I wasn't dying. I was perfectly fine. So anyway, she started with the tattoo shading and then moved on to microblading. So the tattoo shading is just a tattoo needle that's like you shade it in. She did explain that the cosmetic pigment was a little different than the regular pigment because it would not fade to like a gray or anything like, you know, my regular tattoos, and I don't want gray on my face. Not like that color gray. Anyway, So she started doing that first, and it just felt like a tattoo. And then she started with the microblading. So what I thought was the coolest thing about microblading is I assumed she would have like one scalpel and she would do one stroke at a time, which would take forever and hurt a lot. And that was not the case. There was a needle used specifically for microblading. It kind of reminded me of like a shading needle for tattooing, because there was multiple needles there together all in one, and she would dip it in the pigment and then she would swoop it onto my eyebrow. That way she was able to get multiple strokes in at once, which I was super thankful for, and I loved the way that it turned out. So after I got to see what it looked like, and I was super excited, just watch the video. Oh, whoa. Oh my God.
Look at him up close.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was super excited. And she did say my eyebrows would be darker that day than they would be at the end of healing. Again, this right here is 2 weeks in, and full healing is like 4 weeks, I think. So I think they look a lot better. The scabbing, it did scab. I want to say they scabbed for about a week, and that was kind of a pain in the butt because you have to go out and about with your scabs. I went on a date with my scabs, so shout out to the date for being super cool about scabbed eyebrows. Anyway, so they finally, like this, you have to keep, care of it and make sure the scabs don't rip off or whatever, and not fill in your eyebrows for a couple weeks. And you don't really need to because they're already kind of filled in anyway. Yeah, so the scabs came off and I was like, oh yeah, like I really like this color. Like this is the perfect color. It was quite a bit lighter than the day that I got the tattoo done, and it was perfect, and I was super excited, and that's still the color that they are right now. I will go back for a touch-up in a few weeks, or it might be like another month depending on how that goes. However, I'm super excited with how it looks now, and I don't really have to fill in my eyebrows. It took me 2 seconds to fix my eyebrows to film today, and usually it takes me at least 20 minutes. So I feel like I bought myself time, and I feel like that's worth it, just in tenfold. I asked you guys on Instagram if you had any particular questions about microblading, and Sierra was awesome enough to answer them, which is super cool. So I'm gonna put that on in the next segment or whatever in the video, and that is it for me. If you have any questions that I can answer, you can leave a comment and I can try to answer them. And if you have any questions for Sierra, she does have an Instagram, and she also has a YouTube channel, and I'll link it below. Anyway, here is the question and answer portion.
Hi, I'm Sierra Landis. I'm owner of Black Rose Tattoo Studio. I'm a microblading and permanent makeup artist. We're going to answer some of the most popular questions regarding microblading and permanent makeup.
Alright, so I asked Instagram followers, I had questions, and I'm sure you may think of a couple more. So the first one, a lot of people asked were, what is the difference between permanent tattoo makeup and this semi-permanent microblading?
The difference between microblading and permanent makeup is that microblading is semi-permanent. It is in the epidermis layer of the skin only, and as your dead skin cells shed on average of every 30 days, it takes that pigment slowly with it. Permanent makeup, on the other hand, is used by using a tattoo machine. It is administered in the dermal layer of skin, which is what makes it permanent.
So what's the powder brow? Does that have something to do with tattooing?
So powder brows are going to add longevity to your eyebrows. So if you use powder brows or machine shading, permanent makeup behind microblading, it just adds a little bit more longevity and provides more of a powdered makeup, filled in look versus just the hair strokes alone.
Big question was, would I still need to do my makeup on my eyebrows?
All right, so microblading is not a substitute for cosmetic makeup. Microblading is only to fill in natural hairs. So if you do a full face of makeup, you might still feel like you have to fill in with powder behind it. Microblading, since it's underneath the epidermal layer of skin where the dead skin cells are, it's going to soften up the appearance of that pigment. So if you want to look more glam and you want to feel more done up, you might still feel like you have to fill in with cosmetic pencil, and that's okay. Microblading will just provide you with a guide in order to do that easier.
2 questions, kind of the same answer. One was, are touch-ups necessary? And the second was, how often do you seriously need them?
Okay, so touch-ups are a normal and expected part of the microblading and permanent makeup process, and here's why. We can't put any sort of guarantee on how long someone's going to retain pigment. Everybody's lifestyle is different, everybody's pH in the skin is different, everybody's elasticity, skin tone, etc. is different. So what I always tell people is that I like to see them back for a 6 to 12 week touch-up just to make sure that everything still looks good. Another thing that I like to tell people too is that microblading and permanent makeup is a two-step process. So we might use a pigment that I think at the first session is perfect. And then let's say he goes through the healing process and you realize that, oh, you know what, for my preference, I like to go maybe a little bit darker. Or I like to have it darker on my tails and then slightly fade in on the fronts. Like that's where we do all like the tailoring. Okay, so the rate of touch-ups is typically I like to see people back at 6 to 12 weeks, although it's not necessary for me. Other artists might say that it is. For me, you can come back as needed. So we'll do one touch-up after the initial appointment, and then after that we'll do yearly appointments.
All right, so aftercare. I know that I cannot go tanning or be in the sun and how to take care of it, but this was a big question that people were asking, if it's a fuss to take care of, if it's similar to a tattoo. Can you tell them how that works?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. So it's healing, and the aftercare process is sometimes not pretty. So the day of the appointment, they're gonna be dark, and then for the next 5 to 7 days, they're gonna get darker. Between day 7 and 10, you're gonna start to, your scabs will be at their thickest, and then they're gonna start to come off, and it's gonna look a little bit patchy. So that's where it kind of looks, that's the ugly stage of healing. But then you're gonna go through this period too, that once all your scabs are off, in comparison to what they looked like, how dark they looked when the scabs were on, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, where the heck are my eyebrows? Like they look too light. But I always tell people to give it the full 4 weeks to heal to see the true color. And if you feel like maybe they're still too light, then we can take care of that at the touch-up. As far as aftercare and making sure that you're taking care of everything in a cleanly manner and a sanitary manner, is just general rule of thumb with people is for me to tell them to take care of it like an open wound, because that's exactly what it is. So you're gonna want to make sure that you are not touching it with dirty hands, that you're keeping it clean, no dirt, dust, bacteria, no bodies of water like lakes, swimming pools, streams, rivers, all of that. No tanning. Tanning is going to prematurely fade the tattoo and possibly cause color shifting. So those are just some general rules of thumb with healing. There's a lot more that goes into it, but those are just the basics.
All right, you guys, that is it. I hope that you like the video. I hope it gives you some sort of answers and some sort of encouragement if you are looking to do this. It's totally worth it, and it worked. I absolutely love my face. I love it. I love the whole face. I just love my eyebrows. Anyway, that is it. Thanks for watching. Bye, y'all. Love yous.